Well, speaking of the nice face of British fascism, you have Nigel Farage and his cozy relationship with 45. I mean, the simple fact that he's just happens to be in Trump's International Hotel in Washington, D.C. as Trump is going there to dinner and then suddenly gets, hey, Nige, come and join us for dinner. There's something very the relationship between him and Bannon.
Very worried. Yeah, Bannon, crikey. I mean, he is a white supremacist. Yeah. His chief strategist, Bannon, and he's been kicked off various things in relation to what's happening. But he is a very worrying character, I think.
He is.
UKIP is all part of this rise of the right. I hate left-right terminology, but rise of the far right, which actually happens throughout history in the Western world. Every sort of 30 years, something like that, 40 years, you get this bit of a rise of the far right. But
let's speaking of the far right, let's talk a little bit about Brexit. It seems to be getting loonier and loonier by the minute. I mean, you've got the UK and Spain now on war footing over Gibraltar as a bargaining chip. You've got EU residents like my own family that are bargaining chips, and we're all in a quandary. I mean, Theresa May gave a speech last week basically announcing the timetable, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, she's saying we want this and we want that. She issues a 6-page letter instead of just saying, hey, we quit.
What we want is what the other 27 will give.
And they're going to dictate the terms. What part of this are they not understanding?
I think the hilarious thing was May, who most of that letter was not for Europe, most of that letter was for Britain, but she does this whole thing. We'll do a twin track. We'll negotiate leaving the EU at the same time working out the trade deal, and that'll be really nice for everyone.
Yeah, that's right. And they said we're not doing that.
Yeah, and Europe go, no, it doesn't work like that. We set the terms. There's an Article 50 here that has to be followed, which, by the way, a British guy wrote. Let's not forget this.
With the intention that it would never ever be used, which is absolutely absurd.
But there are some good points within this.
Yeah.
The European Parliament has voted that said Article 50 can be reversed. They said that within their vote. I think that is a very positive thing. I think what also was hilarious, I don't know how many watched this, Farage during that debate got up and compared the EU to the mafia. And of course the Italians went, sorry here, you might be missing, but this is sort of a big thing that you don't say. And so he was told off and he was like, oh, sorry, national sensitivities, didn't think about that, because he usually does, and he changed it to gangster.
Oh, gangster's all right then.
Gangster's okay, because
mafia, no, gangster's all right.
Exactly.
Think about letter 6 pages and what
do you say in 6 pages? Yeah. Dear Britain, we quit. Goodbye. Love UK.
And then 6
dear
pages
EU.
later.
Yeah.
I hope Scotland does one. I have to admit, dear UK, Scotland, we quit. Thanks, Scotland. I am.
Just crazy. And you just don't know where this is going to end. I mean, it just continues to move forward, and the economic impact here in Wales and in other parts is just so dramatic.
The economic impact in Wales is a real problem that isn't being addressed. We already know from places like Cornwall and elsewhere that we're not going to get the sort of funding from the UK government that Europe was pouring into some of these areas, particularly into Wales. And this raises real questions about what the Welsh government is going to do in achieving some of its goals and some of its aims. Yeah. So if you remember, I don't know how many of you remember the Welsh Assembly election. Dennis and me, for both of our sins, stood in that election. And those were scary days.
I was his agent.
You were his agent, I forgot
so
that.
We're all here.
I'm sorry, please forgive us.
Having looked inside the belly of the beast, we decided it wasn't going to work. But